guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel Bhavna's Vlogs. My name is Bhavna R. Currently I am pursuing my MBA in Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, which is affiliated to VTU Belgaum. This was the last video assignment in my third semester MBA. Subject is security analysis and portfolio management. In that I have selected a topic, risk and their types of risk. So before starting this video, I am request everyone to please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with your friends and family and well-wishers. Tell them to watch and tell them to share their opinions in my comment section. So now I would like to begin this video by introducing this video. So in the first slide you can see, now let's begin. First you can see meaning of risk. Basically, risk in investment analyst means that future returns from an investment is unpredictable. Here the concept of risk may be defined as the possibilities that the actual returns may not be the same as an expected from the company. Basically here the risk and returns is not as expected in the companies. In other words, I can say that the risk may be consist of changes of and variations in the returns in investment. Having a greater chances of and variations are considered riskier than those with lesser chances of variations. I hope so you understood the meaning of risk in the business or in the finance. After knowing the meaning of risk, now let's move to the types of risk. Here I put it the types of risk in finance. In that, first one is there is a two derivatives in types of risk in finance, that is systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Here the systematic risk is again divided into three types and unsystematic is again divided into three types. Here about this I will explain you in details. In first, systematic risk are basically divided into three types. Before starting to that, I will tell the meaning of systematic risk in a short span. Here about all this I will be telling in only a sentence. If I keep on telling more means the video length will become more, so I will just tell in a sentence and I will wind up this video. So basically systematic risk is due to the inflation of an external factors of an organization. Such factors are normally uncontrollable from an organization point of view. Again here systematic risk are of three types: interest rate risk, market risk and purchasing power. So first let's move to the interest rate risk. Interest rate risk arises due to variabilities in the interest rate from time to time. It is the risk that an investment values changes as a result of changes in interest rate. Again, interest rate risk are divided into two types, as you guys can see on the slides: price risk and reinvestment risk. Price risk arises due to the possibilities that the price of the shares, commodities or investment may decline or falls in the future, and reinvestment risk rate results from the facts that the investment or interest or dividends earned from an investment cannot be reinvested with the same rate of returns as it was acquiring earlier. Again, this is about the interest rate risk and their types. Now let's move to the market risk. Market risk is associated with the consistent fluctuation seen in the trading price of any particular shares or securities. It arises due to rise or fall in the trading price of listed shares or securities in the stock market. Again, the market risk are divided into six types, that is absolute risk, relative risk, directional risk, non-directional risk, base risk, voluntary risk. About this I will tell now. Absolute risk is without any content. For example, if a coin is tossed, there is 50% chances of getting head and 50% chances of getting vice, like head and tails. Next is relative risk. Relative risk is the assessment or evaluation of the risk at the different levels of the business functions. Directional risk are those risks which the loss arises from an exploring to the particular asset of the market. Non-directional risk arises when the method of trading is not consist followed by the traders. Basis risk is due to the possibilities of losses arises from matched risk. And lastly, voluntary risk. Voluntary risk is of the changes in the price of security as a result of changes in the voluntarily of the risk factors. Now let's move to the third type in the systematic risk, that is purchasing power. Purchasing power refers to it is so since it's originated from the facts that is affects a purchasing power advise it is not describable to interest in securities during an inflation period. Here the purchasing power risk are again divided into two types, that is demand inflation risk and cost inflation risk. Demand inflation risk arises due to the increase in price which results from an excess of demand or over supply. Cost inflation risk arises due to the sustainable increases in the price of the goods and services. So this is about the systematic risk, and now let's move to the unsystematic risk. Unsystematic risk is due to the inflation of an internal factors preventing within an organization, like such as factors are normally controllable from an organization point of view. Again here unsystematic risk are divided into three types, that is business risk or a liquid risk. Second one is financial risk or a credit risk. Third one is operational risk. Now I will explain one by one the types of unsystematic risk. In that, first one is business or liquid risk. Business risk is also known as a liquid risk. It is a risk caused by the operating environment of the business. It arises from the inability of a firm to maintain its competitive edge and the growth or sustainability of the earnings. Again, this is classified into two types. Again, the business risks are classified into two types, that is asset liquidity risk and funding liquidity risk. In that, asset liquidity risk is due to losses arises from an inability to sell or pledge assets at or near their carrying values when needed. Funding liquidity risk exists for not having an access to the sufficient funds to make a payment on time. Now let's move to the funding liquidity risk. In unsystematic risk, second type is financial or credit risk. Financial risk is the additional risk of stakeholders to bear when a company uses the debts in addition to the equity financing. And financial risk again classified into six types, that is exchange rate risk, recovery rate risk, credit risk, non-directional risk, sovereign risk and settlement risk. Now I will explain one by one. First one is exchange rate risk, is also known as the exploratory rate risk. It is a form of a financial risk that arises from a potential changes seen in the exchange of a country's currencies irrespective to another country's currencies or vice versa. Recovery rate risk is an often neglected aspect of a credit risk analysis. Sovereign risk is associated with the government. Next is settlement risk exists when the counterpart does not deliver as securities or its values in charge as a settlement of the trade or the business. Last point is non-directional risk. Non-directional risk arises when the method of trading is not consistently followed by the trader. Third type in unsystematic risk is operational risk. Operational risk are the business process risk falling due to the human errors. This risk will charges from industry to industry. It will basically change from industry to industry. It consists due to the breakdowns in the internal procurement like people, policies and the system. Here the operational risk again are divided into modern risk, people risk, legal risk and political risk. In that, modern risk is involved in using a various modes to value financial securities. Second one is people's risk, arises when the people is not allowed to following organizational procurement practices and rules of the organization. Third one is legal risk, arises when the parties are not allowed lawfully completing to the entire organization argument them. And last point is political risk. Political risk occurs due to the changes in the government policies, such as changes may not unfavorable impact on or the investment, or it is especially like preventing the third world countries. This is about the types of the risk in the financial finance, which I have put it. I will explain all the points. Now let's conclude this topic. Basically, the risk is uncertain in any business. and it will affect our investment, the business or the financial institution. Underlining and managing the financial risk is a crucial part for any business to achieve the financial stability and to success in the finance. I hope so you understood the meaning of the risk and types of the risk in this video. If you have any doubt, please do comment me in the comment section. I will try to clarify all the doubts. And this is about the last video assignment of the third semester. See you in the next video. I hope so you understood. And please do share with your friends, family and well-wishers, and tell them to like this video and share their comments in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next vlog. Tata bye bye. Your Bhavna is signing off. Tata bye bye. See you in the next vlog.